adsorption, second part is catalysis, and the third part is collapse. Generally from adsorption they are asking 1 2 marks question, and from catalysis 1 1 mark question, or sometimes even they are asking 1 2 marks question also, and from collapse we can get 3 marks. So totally 3 marks, so 6 marks we get from this chapter, and this is one of the most easiest and important chapter in the examination point of view of PhD. You can score very easily 6 marks from this chapter. Let's suppose is topic surface. What is meant by a surface? What is the meaning of the surface of a substance? Generally, what we think is surface means the outer layer which is visible to us of a substance. Actually, the surface means not only the outer layer which is visible to us, and it is up to certain nanometer depth of a substance. So, if you take one substance like this, a spherical substance, generally what we assume is exactly the surface what is visible to us, that is considered as surface. But actually, surface means up to certain nanometer thickness in the outer region of the matter. That is nothing but surface, not only the visible region. And so we can differentiate the surface of a substance like a solid and gas. A solid and a gas is there. When a gas in contact with the solid surface, the surface of solid and gas we can differentiate by using a slash, or even by we can represent a semicolon also. A simple example: when silver metal Az solid, when silver metals solid is in contact with a aqueous solution of silver, Az solid and Az aqueous, then we can represent the interface of these two by using a semicolon. Az solid by Az aqueous. So this is what is called as interface or surface, both refers to the same. Now, so what are some surface phenomena that we can observe in our daily life? See, most of the phenomena what we can observe in our daily life are surface phenomena. First example, if we observe in rainy season, we can observe the accumulation of moisture on the surface of glass. That is an example for adsorption. Or if you place an iron rod in an atmosphere, then the rusting of iron takes place. The rusting of iron is a surface phenomena, because the rusting cannot take place in the bulk in the interior part of the rod. It takes place only on the surface. Because the surface molecule get rusted, then only the bulk molecules get rusted. Like one more example, electrode process. What are the process or the chemical changes that we can observe during electrolysis? There is a discharge of metals or discharge of gases. All the electrode process are example of surface phenomena. And what we discussed, what we learned in first we say catalysis, catalyst. So all catalysis process are examples of surface phenomena. One more simple and best example, dissolution of a solid in liquid. If you add some sugar to water, the sugar get dissolved. How the sugar get dissolved? So, if you take a glass of water, now in this glass of water, if you add some crystals of sugar, then the sugar molecules will be attracted by the water molecules equally in all directions. Then the sugar molecules which are present on the surface of the sugar crystal goes to the solution. That means sugar solid is converted to sugar aqueous. That means the sugar molecules goes to the solution from the surface of the sugar crystal, not from the bulk. This is an example of surface phenomena. One more simple example, crystallization. Suppose if I have taken a hard saturated sugar solution, this is a hard saturated sugar solution which is a high temperature at about 90 degrees Celsius. When this hard saturated solution is allowed to cool to room temperature, then what happens? We can observe some crystals of sugar will get separate slowly. And with increasing time, the size of the sugar crystal also increases. The reason is that So first initiation of crystallization takes place. After crystallization initiated, then whatever the molecules present in the solution, the molecules in the solution get collided to the surface of this sugar molecules. So when all these sugar molecules in the solution get collided on the surface of the sugar crystal, they get accumulated on the surface of sugar crystal. As a result, the size of this sugar crystal increases. This process is known as crystallization. So this crystallization process is an example of surface phenomena. Dissolution of a solid in a liquid is an example of surface phenomena. Corrosion is an example of surface phenomena. Electrode process are examples of surface phenomena, and catalysis reactions are examples of some surface phenomena. So these are some examples for the surface phenomena produced in space. Now, so in nature we observe most of the substance, 99% of the substance present in the nature are not having pure surfaces. A best example, right now what you are using mobile, is the surface of the mobile is pure or not? No. Now the mobile surface contains millions of virus particles on that, as well as millions of dust particles here present on that. The surface of the mobile surface is not very pure. Under what conditions we can get pure surfaces? So on our body, thousands or millions of virus particles may be there, may be harmful or not. So no, most of the substance present in nature are not having pure surfaces. Why? Because see, if you take a solid substance, let's say I am going to take a solid substance here. This is the solid substance. Now you take a molecule in the bulk of this solid substance. In the bulk, if a particle is present, this particle is attracted by the surrounding molecules equally in all directions. That means the net attractive force on this molecule or particle is 0. So this contains a balanced forces in all directions. Let us take a particle on the surface. Now this is the particle which is present on the surface. Now this particle is attracted by the particles which are present in the bulk of the substance. There is no force, there is no particles on the surface. Now the surface forces, what is there? These are unbalanced. These are called as unbalanced surface forces. Now these unbalanced surface forces to get balanced equally in all directions, these surface forces can attract the particles which are present in the nearer to that. That means this surface molecules attract the surrounding particles which are nearer to them. As a result, these particles get accumulated on the surface of the substance. And this phenomenon is nothing but called as adsorption. So adsorption is nothing but the attraction and accumulation of a gas or liquid on the surface of a solid or liquid. This is called as adsorption. Repeat. Adsorption is a phenomenon in which a gas or liquid molecules get attracted and accumulated on the surface of a solid or liquid. This is called as adsorption. So most of the compounds in the nature are not pure, have surfaces. So the surface of the substance get accumulated by the other particles present in the atmosphere. Now, under what conditions we can get a pure surface? A substance is having a pure surface at a pressure of 10 to the power of minus 8 to 10 to the power of minus 9 pascals. Under a very low pressure of 10 to the power minus 8 to 10 to the power minus 9 pascals, we can get a very pure surface of the substance. Because under this pressure, there is no particle present on the surface almost. Because we are removing all the particles by maintaining very low pressure. As a result, we can get almost clear surface. That means the surface of the substance is pure. By some other methods also we can get pure surfaces. So if you take charcoal, the impurities what are get absorbed on the surface of charcoal can be removed by passing the superheated steam at a temperature of 600 to 1200 degrees Celsius. Means on passing the steam which is in the range of 600 to 1200 degrees Celsius, then we can remove the impurities whatever present on the surface of charcoal. And this process of removal of impurities from the surface of a substance is called as activation. This is called as activation of the surface of a substance. And even if like a metal, the surface of a metal can get activated by mechanical rubbing process. By mechanical rubbing process, we can increase the activity of the surface of the substance. The activity of the surface can be increased by the deposition of finely divided metal by electrolytic deposition. So, by the deposition of a finely divided metal, by electrolytic deposition on the surface of a metal, or by mechanical rubbing of a metal, we can get activate the surface of the metal. Or by passing superheated steam at a temperature of 600 to 1200 degrees Celsius, we can get activate the surface of the substance. So, in the nature, most of the substance which are present, the surface is not pure, the surface is impure because of the accumulation of some particles which are present in the nature. And this phenomenon is purely belongs to the surface of a substance. Now let us see. First we will discuss regarding the adsorption. Adsorption and one more absorption. These are the basic terms of surface chemistry. And sorption and one more is desorption. Let's see one by one of this. Adsorption. As we discussed right now, adsorption is the process of attraction and accumulation of a gas or liquid on the surface of a solid or liquid. That is called adsorption. And this process of adsorption contains mainly two components. The two components present in the process of adsorption are adsorbate and one more component is adsorbent. So adsorbate and adsorbent are the two components which are involved in this adsorption process. What is adsorbate? What is adsorbent? I'll take one simple example here. Acetic acid to the dilute acetic acid, I will add some charcoal powder. Let the concentration of this acetic acid is some 0.5 molar. I have taken 0.5 molar acetic acid and to that I just added some amount of charcoal powder. And this, after adding this charcoal powder, shake this mixture vigorously for 15 to 20 minutes. After the vigorous shaking of this solution, just filter the solution. After filtration, we can get separate this charcoal powder. Then again, we can get dilute acetic acid. So we can get dilute acetic acid. Now, what is the concentration of this dilute acetic acid? It will remain the same as 0.5 m or not. So what the acetic acid obtained here after filtration, its concentration is always less than 0.5 m. So here the concentration of acetic acid decreases. It may be 0.1 or 0.2 or 0.3 depending on the acid which get absorbed here. So now, why the concentration of acetic acid decreases here? Because when this acetic acid is shaken vigorously with charcoal powder, some of the acetic acid molecules in the solution get accumulated on the surface of charcoal. Simply what we call as adsorption. Means some acetic acid molecules get adsorbed on the surface of charcoal. As a result, the number of solute particles in the solution decreases. That means number of acetic acid molecules in the solution decreases. Then automatically concentration decreases. So to a solution If you add a charcoal and it is shaken rigorously and filtered, the filtrate what is obtained contains a concentration less than the concentration of the solution initially what we are taking here. So this is an example of adsorption. Now here I mentioned two terms, adsorbate and adsorbent. So what is adsorbate? Means the substance which is being adsorbed on the surface of another substance, that is called adsorbate. And what is adsorbent? The substance on which surface the adsorption process takes place. This is called adsorbent. Now, in this example, acetic acid molecules get adsorbed on charcoal surface. That means the adsorbent is nothing but acetic acid molecules. Whereas the acetic acid molecules get adsorbed on the surface of charcoal. That means charcoal absorbs the acetic acid molecules. That means charcoal is the adsorbent. So the substance which is being adsorbed on the surface of another substance, that is called adsorbate. The substance on which surface the adsorption takes place, that is called adsorbent. So which is being adsorbed is adsorbate. On which surface the adsorption takes place, there is an adsorbent. One more example. So I have taken a closed vessel which contains some gaseous mixture O2, N2. Let the pressure of this gaseous mixture is 1 atmosphere. At 1 atmosphere pressure, I have taken a gaseous mixture O2 plus N2. Now, to this I will add some charcoal powder. If we add some charcoal powder, what happens? If I add some charcoal powder here, this oxygen and nitrogen molecules get absorbed on the surface of charcoal. That means the number of gaseous molecules decreases. If the number of gaseous molecules decreases, automatically pressure also decreases. Now, the new pressure will be less than 1 atmosphere. Means, when charcoal is added to a gaseous mixture, the gas molecules get absorbed on the surface of charcoal. As a result, the pressure of this gas mixture decreases. One more example. Take some sugar solution. So this is a sugar solution. Generally, sugar solution is having a pale greenish yellow color. Now, to this sugar solution, if add some charcoal, add some charcoal to the sugar solution and shake the solution vigorously for some time, and then filter the solution. After filtration, what the filtrate we got here, the sugar solution becomes colorless. Is the colored sugar solution becomes colorless when filtered with charcoal, which is get activated, means activated charcoal. So this is an example for adsorption. Take one more example. In a vessel, take some methylene blue, which is an indicator. To that, add some charcoal powder and shake it vigorously. On shaking, the intensity of the color decreases. Why? Because what the colored particles are there, those colored particles get absorbed on the surface of charcoal. As a result, the intensity of the color decreases. So these are some examples for adsorption. So once again, when charcoal powder is added to acetic acid having a concentration of 0.5, shake vigorously and filter that. The filtered acetic acid contains concentration less than 0.5. This is because some of the acetic acid molecules get absorbed on the surface of charcoal. And one more example. Take the gaseous mixture of oxygen and nitrogen, which is at 1 atmosphere. Add some charcoal powder, shake them vigorously. Sorry, keep it like that for some time. And then, after some time, if you observe, the pressure will become equal to less than 1 atmosphere. This is due to the accumulation or absorption of oxygen and nitrogen molecules on charcoal. Now, take some sugar solution. To the sugar solution, which is having a pale greenish yellow color, if you add charcoal powder, and then if it is kept shaken vigorously and then filtered, then sugar solution becomes colorless. This is commercially used method for decolorization of sugar solution. The colored sugar solution can be decolorized by treating an animal charcoal. This is a commercial method. So this is an example for adsorption. Okay. So these are some examples of adsorption. So adsorption process involves two terms. One is adsorbate, another is adsorbent. The substance which is being absorbed, that is called as adsorbate. The substance on which surface the adsorption takes place, that is called as adsorbent. This is the definitions of adsorption and the terms involved in adsorption. There is adsorbate and adsorbent. The second term here, absorption. What is absorption? So this absorption is a bulk phenomenon, whereas this adsorption is a surface phenomenon. This is the basic difference between these two. Let's see first what is absorption. So if you take one sponge, the sponge is dipped in water. Then what happens? Water enters into the bulk of the sponge in all directions equally. Means the total, the bulk of the sponge is completely covered with water molecules. And these water molecules distribute in this sponge uniformly from all directions. So this is nothing but an example of absorption. So the distribution of the molecules of a substance in the bulk of the other substance uniformly. Simply, the uniform distribution of a substance into the bulk of the other substance is nothing but called as absorption. Simply, with one simple diagram we can represent it. Let us assume this is a substance. And what I am representing with a symbol plus, these are the molecules which get absorbed here. Now here, the molecules get absorbed just only on the surface, not enters to the bulk. So this is nothing but adsorption. Now take the same one more example. This is a substance. Now into the substance, that is in the bulk of the substance, if the molecules are distributed uniformly throughout the substance. Now this is called as absorption. So if the molecules of a substance get distributed uniformly throughout the bulk of the other substance, that is called as absorption. If the process takes place only on the surface, that is called as adsorption. So this is a surface phenomenon, whereas this is a bulk phenomenon. Now let's come to the one more example here. Sorption. See here, sorption means both adsorption and absorption takes place simultaneously. That is called as sorption. For example, this is the substance. Now, here if the molecules get absorbed on the surface, at the same time the molecules enters into the bulk of the substance uniformly. This is called as sorption. So if both absorption and adsorption takes place simultaneously, that is called as sorption. Now come to desorption. So this desorption process is nothing but opposite to adsorption. The opposite process of adsorption is nothing but desorption. Let's see here. So this is the substance on which surface the molecules get absorbed. Now, if the temperature of the system is increased, then what happens? If the temperature of the system is increased, then the kinetic energy of the molecules which get absorbed on the surface increases. If the kinetic energy of the molecules on the surface increases, then these molecules can overcome the attractive forces by this adsorbent, and they can leave from the surface of this adsorbent. This phenomenon is called as desorption. Means the process of escaping of adsorbate molecules from the surface of adsorbent, that is called as desorption. This is purely opposite to adsorption. Once again, so when the kinetic energy of the molecules on the surface of adsorbent are increased, then the molecules can overcome the attractive forces by this adsorbent, and they can leave from the surface of the adsorbent. And this process of escaping of gas molecules from the surface of adsorbent is called as desorption. Let us see once all these four once again. Adsorption, the process of attraction and accumulation of a gas or liquid on the surface of a solid or liquid, that is called as adsorption. This adsorption is a surface phenomenon. This adsorption process involves two components. One is adsorbate, another is adsorbent. Adsorbate means the substance which is being absorbed on the surface of another substance, that is called adsorbate. Adsorbent, the substance on which surface the absorption takes place, that is called as adsorbent. And some examples just we will discuss already. Now the second one, absorption. Absorption is nothing but the process in which the molecules of a substance get distributed uniformly throughout the bulk of another substance. That is called absorption. This absorption is a bulk phenomenon. And one more term, sorption. If both adsorption and sorption takes place simultaneously, that is called as sorption. Absorption plus adsorption, sum of these two is nothing but sorption. Desorption. So desorption is the opposite process to adsorption. So whenever the kinetic energy of the molecules get absorbed increases, either by increasing temperature or by some other process, then the molecules which are absorbed here overcome the attractive forces by the adsorbent molecules and get separated from the surface of adsorbent. This phenomenon is called as desorption. Now, let us see the difference between adsorption and absorption. See, take adsorption. Adsorption is a surface phenomenon. So adsorption is surface phenomenon, whereas absorption is bulk phenomenon. Now in this case, the molecules of the substance get absorbed on the surface only. On the surface only, molecules get accumulated. So the molecules get accumulated only on the surface. Here, the molecules get accumulated in the bulk. So the molecules of the substance get accumulated in the bulk of another substance. Let's see that.
Continue.
Right. So here now, absorption is a bulk phenomenon. The molecules get accumulate in the bulk of the substance. Now in this case, it's like absorption. The molecules get accumulated in the beginning. Is a rate is more in the beginning. So rate is more in the beginning, and with the time the rate of reaction decreases. Means rate of process decreases with the time. Here, this takes place with a uniform rate. So this is one of the difference between absorption and absorption. So once again, absorption is a surface phenomenon, whereas absorption is a bulk phenomenon. And second one is, in absorption, the molecules get accumulate only on the surface, whereas in absorption, the molecules get accumulate in the bulk of the substance. Now, in case of absorption, initially the rate of absorption is more, and with the time the rate of absorption decreases. Whereas in case of absorption, the absorption takes place at a uniform rate. That means with the time there is no change in the rate of absorption. So these are the differences between absorption and absorption. Let us see the mechanism of absorption. What happens during the absorption process? This is the solid substance. As we discussed earlier, the molecule in the bulk is attracted by the surrounding molecules equally in all directions. And whatever molecule present on the surface, it contains unbalanced forces. So these molecules or atoms can attract the surrounding molecules. So this is a gaseous state. These are the gaseous molecules. So when these gas molecules are attracted by the surface atoms of an adsorbent, this is adsorbent. So whenever these gas molecules are attracted by the surface of this adsorbent, these gas molecules get accumulate on the surface of adsorbent. So whenever these gas molecules get accumulate on the surface of the solid substance, the kinetic energy of these gas molecules decreases. So now here, when these get accumulated here, the gas becomes almost to liquid state. When accumulate on the surface of solid substance, almost it will come to liquid state. So the process of conversion of gaseous state to liquid state of the substance, enthalpy is negative. That means when gas molecules get accumulate on the surface of solid, the kinetic energy of the gas molecules decreases. If the kinetic energy of gas molecules decreases, then how much amount of energy is decreased? The same amount of energy is generated as heat energy. That means adsorption process is always exothermic. Whenever any substance get accumulated on the surface of any other substance, energy is liberated because the kinetic energy of the molecules which are being absorbed here decreases, and the same is liberated as heat energy. So for absorption, delta H, nothing but enthalpy change is negative. Delta H is negative for absorption. Now, what about delta S? As you know, S means entropy. Delta S means entropy change. See here, when gas molecules get accumulated on the surface, the distance between the gas molecules decreases. In gaseous state, the distance between gas molecules is more, they occupy more space. Whenever these get accumulated on the surface of the solid, the distance between the gas molecules decreases. The distance between gas molecules decreases means the randomness of the molecules decreases. Randomness of the molecules decreases means entropy of the molecules decreases. That means delta S is negative. So during absorption, the randomness of the system decreases. That means randomness of the gas molecules decreases. That means delta S is negative. What about the delta G? What about the sign of delta Z? So as you know, the thermodynamic relation delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. This is what is known as Gibbs equation. Delta Z is equal to delta H minus T delta S. This is Gibbs equation. Now, for a process to be spontaneous, delta G should be negative. If delta G is positive, the process is non-spontaneous. If delta G is equal to 0, the system is at equilibrium. Now, delta G is equal to, what is the sign of delta H? Negative minus T into, what is the sign of delta S? Negative. So this is negative and minus of minus becomes temperature. So X value is positive value. Oh. Now, the sign of delta G may be positive or may be negative based on this. Now here, if delta H is more negative than compared to delta S, then the overall value becomes negative. So during absorption, the enthalpy change, that is delta H is more negative as compared to delta S. Since delta H is more negative than compared to delta S, the overall value becomes negative. That means if delta G is negative, means the process is spontaneous. So this is the sign convention for absorption. See, during absorption, the kinetic energy of the gas molecules which are being absorbed decreases. So delta H is negative. During absorption, the distance between the gas molecules decreases. That means the randomness of the molecules decreases. That means delta S is negative. Next. Delta H is more negative than compared to delta S during absorption. That means the overall value of delta Z becomes negative. That means the process is spontaneous. So absorption process is always spontaneous because delta Z is negative. So this is regarding the sign conventions.
Network error వచ్చింది.
Right. So this is the mechanism of absorption. So during absorption, delta H is negative, delta S is negative, as well as delta G also negative. All three terms becomes negative during absorption. This absorption is a spontaneous process. Now let us see types of absorption. Again, this absorption process takes place by two ways. One is physical absorption. The second one is chemical absorption. Physical absorption and chemical absorption. Then what is this physical absorption? So this classification was done based on the attractive forces developed between adsorbate and adsorbent. There are two types of forces that can operate between adsorbate and adsorbent. One is the van der Waals forces and one more is a strong chemical one. A simple example I take. Let us take the surface of iron metal right here. I have passed a nitrogen gas on the surface of this iron in two cases. Or let us take hydrogen molecule. Hydrogen gas is passed on the surface of iron. In one case, the temperature is 80 degrees Celsius. In one more case, the temperature is 773 Kelvin. So at 80 degrees Celsius in one case and at 773 Kelvin temperature, another case I have passed the hydrogen gas on the surface of iron. Now, when hydrogen gas is passed at this temperature, the hydrogen molecules get accumulated on the surface of iron by van der Waals forces. By van der Waals force, the hydrogen molecule get absorbed here, which two molecules. Whereas here, if I pass hydrogen gas at a temperature of 773 Kelvin, this hydrogen molecule absorbed on the surface of iron by the formation of strong chemical bonds. So here absorption takes place by weak van der Waals force, whereas here absorption takes place by the formation of strong chemical bonds. Now go to the first case, physical absorption. If both adsorbate and adsorbent are held together by the weak van der Waals forces, then that is called as physical absorption. Now this is an example of physical absorption. If there exists a strong chemical forces and that chemical force may be covalent bond, maybe a covalent bond or ionic bond, both are possible. So if a molecule get or if a substance get accumulated on the surface of another by the formation of strong covalent bond or ionic bond, then that is called as chemical absorption. So based on the attractive forces that operate between adsorbate and adsorbent, this absorption is classified into two types. One is physical absorption and another is chemical absorption. If adsorbate and adsorbent are held together by weak van der Waals forces, that is called as physical absorption. If adsorbate and adsorbent are held together by the formation of strong covalent bond or ionic bond, then it is called as chemical absorption. So this is the basic difference between physical and chemical absorption. And regarding the characteristic properties of physical absorption as well as chemical absorption, further we discuss later. Let us see once. So depending on the attraction forces between adsorbate and adsorbent, the absorption process is divided into two types. One is physical absorption and another is chemical absorption. If there exists a weak van der Waals forces between adsorbate and adsorbent, that is called as physical absorption. If there is a formation of strong covalent bond or ionic bond between adsorbate and adsorbent, that is called as chemical absorption. So this is regarding the classification or the types of physical absorption and chemical absorption. Now let us see the factors. The factors which can affect the absorption. The absorption process can be affected but depends on nature of adsorbate. Nature of adsorbate, and the second one is nature of adsorbent, nature and surface area of adsorbent. Nature of adsorbent, nature and surface area of adsorbent. And third one is pressure. And fourth one is temperature. So these are the major four factors that can affect the absorption. Now for the first one, nature of adsorbent. That is the nature of gas. I will take some gases here. Hydrogen, oxygen, methane, CO2, and acid. So all these gases have passed on the surface of charcoal at the same temperature. Now, whether all these gases are absorbed on the surface of charcoal to the equal extent or not. So different gases can absorb a different way, means in different amounts on the surface of charcoal. So that depends upon critical temperature. What is critical temperature? The temperature above which the gas cannot be liquefied. That is called critical temperature. So the different gases, among the given gases, the gas which is having high critical temperature can be liquefied easily. Which can be liquefied easily? That can be absorbed on the surface of charcoal more readily. So here from left to right, critical temperature. So critical temperature increases. As critical temperature increases, the ease of liquefaction increases. As the ease of liquefaction increases, the extent of adsorption increases. So, the extent of adsorption depends upon the nature of the adsorbent. So, if like different gases, among the given gases, the gas which is having high critical temperature can be liquefied easily. Which can be liquefied easily, that can be absorbed more readily and to the more extent. Now, in this, if we compare the order of extent of adsorption, hydrogen less than, oxygen less than, CH4 less than, CO2 less than, SO2. Means, by taking 1 gram of charcoal, if you are passing these gases in different cases, the gas which is least absorbed is hydrogen. The gas which absorbed to a large extent is sulfur dioxide. So, the gases which are having high critical temperature can be liquefied easily. The gas which can be liquefied easily can be absorbed more readily, and even the extent of adsorption also more. Suppose you pass all these gases at a time on the surface of charcoal, then if you observe the amount of gases absorbed, hydrogen less than, oxygen less than, CH4 less than, CO2 less than, SO2. The same we can ask after examination also. By giving some gases, they can ask which of the following gas can absorb more readily, or in which case the extent of absorption is more. In such cases, we can compare the critical temperatures. Suppose the critical temperature is not mentioned, then how to identify? If critical temperature is not mentioned, based on the dipole moment, we can identify. The gas molecules which are having high dipole moment can be liquefied easily and can be absorbed more readily. So, among the gases, the gas which is having high critical temperature can be liquefied easily and can be absorbed more readily, and the extent of absorption also more. Nature and surface area of adsorbent. See, the extent of absorption depends upon the surface area of adsorbent. As the surface area increases, as the surface area increases, extent of adsorption also increases. So larger the surface area, greater is extent of adsorption. Under what conditions we can get a large surface area? Let us take this chalk piece, break down this chalk piece into two pieces. Earlier, before breaking, this is the surface. After breaking here, two new surfaces are produced. That means the surface area increases. Like that. If you take a substance in a powdered state instead of in bulk state, in powdered state the surface area is more. then extent of adsorption is more. So powdered state. So in powder state, the substance is having more adsorption capacity. So as the breaking of substance into small pieces increases, surface area increases. As the surface area increases, the extent of adsorption also increases. Come to the pressure. So pressure has a different effect in physical absorption and chemical absorption. That will be discussed later. In case of physical absorption, as the pressure increases, extent of adsorption increases. And the same effect will be there in case of chemical absorption also. But the effect of temperature is different in case of physical and chemical absorption. In case of physical absorption, as the temperature increases, extent of adsorption decreases. Whereas in case of chemical absorption, with increasing temperature, extent of adsorption increases, reaches to maximum value, and then decreases. And that we will discuss further in comparison of physical absorption and chemical absorption. See once again, these are the four factors which can affect the extent of adsorption. One is nature of adsorbate. The gas which can be liquefied easily can be absorbed more readily, and extent of adsorption also more. Nature and surface area of adsorbent. As the surface area of adsorbent increases, extent of adsorption also increases. When the surface area will be more for adsorbent. So whenever a substance is taken in powder state, the extent of adsorption will be more because the surface area will be increased. Effect of pressure. As the pressure increases, extent of adsorption increases, both in physical as well as chemical. Effect of temperature. As the temperature increases, extent of physical adsorption decreases, whereas extent of chemical adsorption increases. After reaching a maximum value, on further increase in temperature, again extent of adsorption decreases. Now we can discuss later further clearly in differences between physical and chemical adsorption. So this is regarding the basic terms and the difference is physical and chemical absorption and the factors which affects the absorption.